So we're taking a look today at the River Axe where it meets the sea in Seaton. A popular shore fishing holiday destination for some, of course. But the river itself actually rises near Beaminster in Dorset. And out of that field are 22 miles of meandering river. Non-navigable until you get right down to the beach, which is our destination today. And the name of this river is actually an old British word for an abundance of fish, and then eventually it opens up round about Seaton marshes. You may have a chance of even seeing an osprey here as well. And any river like this with salmon in it is going to be a bit special, I think. But it's the fishing we're looking at today. And the first thing you notice are plenty of what I think are thick-lit mullets around about the harbour area there. Tricky to catch. But we will take a look further down the coast with the lure rod shortly. But we start off at Seaton Bridge. So it's 5:30 in the morning, we've turned up at Seaton Bridge. I don't know if there's fish here, but we're going to give it a go. Just going to put on this little, well, it's like a black minnow copy. You can see that the tide's, although the tide's coming in, the flow of the river's meeting it here at this bridge, so let's give it a go. Now, because I don't know this venue, all I'm trying to do is just find out the depth really. Sometimes when the flow's quite strong, you don't know whether you're 4 foot underneath or 20 foot. So it's worth dropping down a heavy lure first, see if you can touch bottom and then get an idea of the sort of depth that the lure's fishing in. So we're going to take a walk along the east side. This is the old Axmouth Old Bridge, the oldest concrete bridge in the country. And what we're looking at here are these mullet. So easily spooked, you can just see one rising there. What I try to do at this point, you see, so I'm sort of standing on the road here. You can actually walk down on the rocks. But the mullet will come in and feed off the silt, and underneath the bridge there in the harbour I've just tried a little crab fly. I don't know if you can pick it out on the video, but as soon as that fly hit the water, off the mullet went. A lot more work required on those mullet, which is something we'll be following on the channel as well. Bread perhaps being the answer here. Now we're looking back upriver there. Well, blog style going across the road here. So looking up the river there, and as you can see down towards the sea. We're going to have a little look down towards the sea in a minute. It's a fantastic environment. I mean, it's probably pretty good fishing up river as well. And then when you look behind us, that's obviously the main beach at Seaton. There is an entrance to the Axmouth Harbour. That's the area we're concentrating on today. You can park here. There's limited car parking space for about sort of 6-7 cars. Failing that, there is plenty of parking in the town, not too far away. Only a matter of a few hundred metres, some of those. And you can't go any further than this for parking either. So it is a short walk. Possible disabled access here as well for wheelchairs. There's a little hut over there as well, which contains lots of lobsters. Some of the pots get bought back there. This is Seaton Tackle Shop. Pretty good in there as well, with all the stuff you'd need, lure fishing or with bait. As you can see, there's various platforms as you follow the river down that you can fish off. Obviously tide's going to be a really big factor here. Bigger spring tides, or if the river's in spate and it's coming down after a storm and a lot of water, you'll really struggle to hold bottom at certain states of the tide. I spoke to a few anglers down here and they do say that you can catch when the tide's running quite well, but really hard to get a lure looking good at this part of the river, or even a prawn drifting past is going to be at quite some speed. So I think the better bet may be just to fish the river mouth just to the east. So some of this footage is actually on different days. You can see how clear it is here, the water. It's the tide slowly coming in. So you've really got to pick your conditions. This was the previous day actually. You can fish off the bottom there. There's obviously someone ledgered there. Seems a popular spot. Make sure you reel in your lines for the boat though. And of course it can get very, very fast and rapid here. In terms of venues as well, it's just a cracking place to be. Not too many people to bug you here either, particularly out of season. I mean, we were here in August and still quite quiet on a Sunday morning here. Looking back there towards Beer, which is another beach in the distance. For the bass over those reefs, they're taking advantage of course of the river water coming out, disorientating the bait fish, and then it's easy pickings. So as you may have seen from previous video, we had a little go with the lures here. Another nice little wrasse. This is a drift lure, this one. Nice to get a wrasse on a lure. And there are big bass here as well. Spoke to a guy, reckon he had an 8-pounder from this very spot the previous week. It's always the previous week, isn't it?
So a little female ballon wrasse there on the lures. Lovely. Look at that. Beautiful colours. Beautiful colours.
And when you come down here as a holiday angler, I think it's good just to know the basics, get you started off where to fish. As the camera pans round there, we're obviously looking down west. That's Seaton Beach, which you can fish off as well. But this side of the river gives you something a little bit more interesting, really. So you get as far as you can to the sea, and then you're heading east now. You can walk as far as you can down there. You can see why it's quite a good bass venue. Not so much for us today. I did have a few little schoolie bass that I actually caught right, just you see there, right in front of my feet.
Weed can be a bit of a problem here, but you can fish round it. It tends to pile the weed up in little corners and the edges, so but this is about as bad as it got today. Most of the time it was all right. So what I've done is I've come onto the main beach here. You can see, and you can see when you look down that way, that's got a lot of potential for the bass, hasn't it? Surely. And then just turning the camera back round, there's actually a couple of locals fishing the river mouth itself. Obviously the river mouth's a prime spot as well, with that change in depth, the change in speed of water, the bass will sit in there. However, I'm not going to try and muscle in on any locals here, because that's not what you do.
You can fish on that other side, on the main beach there, obviously the other side of the bridge. But to escape the crowds, holiday makers, particularly in the holiday seasons, best bet is to head to the east of the bridge, I think.